Okay, so hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Default Global. This is where we connect with global first entrepreneurs and tech leaders from all around the world to share their experiences. Our guest today is Jason Loyola, Head of Information Technology at InDebted. Jason, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very, very much, Vit. Pleasure and honor.
Yeah, so Jason, welcome to the show. And maybe could you kick things off by sharing a bit about your journey in the tech world? Maybe we would love to hear about maybe the key moments and maybe experiences that have influenced your career, especially your move to your current role as a head of information technology. So can you talk more about that?
Yeah, man. Look, there's a lot of moments, right? We could be here for a very long time. So I'll try to keep it short. Look, if anything, where I kind of started, I started, doing traditional help desk. Worked for a company, just troubleshooting over the phone. I then moved my way up into kind of being like an engineer, doing professional services. I started to lead a team out of that, or like a small team. From there, I kind of realized I really like the managerial side of things. So I was like a engineering manager for a little bit. And I think each of those little steps, like those little stepping blocks, kind of like molded me for what I wanted to be as a leader, if that makes sense. So I probably didn't even know I wanted to be a leader, to be honest with you, until I got to like that third step. And then I started to focus on, okay, I think that's the type of job I wanted. I applied for the role at InDebted. I was very successful, it was the right fit for both of us, I think. And yeah, I think in terms of, you know, um, what I kind of wanted out of a manager, I remember, kind of having good managers, I think, and bad managers. And I just tried to take the good from the good ones and not be, what I got from the bad ones, if that makes sense. Not saying any names. I've had managers good and bad, but I feel like you need both of that to kind of, get to where you are. It's the good and the bad, right?
Yeah, I mean, you've built quite a career in the tech space, working everywhere from EMM solutions to leading global teams. So let's maybe dive a bit deeper. So, like, could you tell us how your previous roles, like being a technical operation manager at Delphi, right, and then desktop support technician, team leader, have prepared you for leading at InDebted?
Yeah, for sure. So, like I said, I think being on the other side, I knew when I was doing a help desk role, and it was very customer focused. And then I think moving to like an engineering type role at Delve, that was very engineering focused. So that's probably like more client facing. So I've kind of had, I think like I've kind of dipped my toes into every aspect. Like, I knew how to talk to customers, knew how to talk to clients. Then the managerial role, well, the one that I got at Indebted, I think, kind of understanding that journey from both the customer perspective, the client perspective, it kind of made me go, okay, now I know what I would want in a team. So when I became the head of IT at Indebted, I kind of like had my own baseline of what I kind of thought that I wanted in everyone. And that was like my mark, if that makes sense. And like I said, every little step I think was like a bit of a building block for me in my professional career and personal career too. Like learned a lot along the way. Learned like what I liked, what I didn't like, and I try and I guess push that onto my team too as I lead.
So like each role adds a layer, kind of,
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. That Drake song started from the bottom. Now we hear, like you kind of hear that thing. It's like, and he talks about it. I don't know if you're a Drake fan. There's a lot of beef at the moment with Drake, but yeah, I think just every little bit. If I didn't get that little bit, I wouldn't be who I am today. And like I said, even the bad bits, like I've had, probably bad leadership in my life too, from managers. Not saying any names who, but I realized that's not what I wanted to be when I was a leader. And then I had really good managers and love those managers. And I said, wow, I'm going to take a piece of you and I'm going to bring that as a leader when I get to lead people one day. And here I am now, man. And, loving it.
Yeah. And speaking about your current company, right? So InDebted is like a redefining that like a collection with its like a collect product, right? Using like a different technology, different data to improve customer interactions and kind of recovery results. So can you explain how InDebted's like a approach to smart DApp collection stands out from traditional methods, right? And what impact this has on customers and businesses?
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, I feel like as we evolve into the future with technology, expectations change, right, from people and consumers. But traditional debt hasn't. You still need to find ways to collect, right? Because that's how you make money, right? I feel like today's customer transactions, we try to make them all digital first and frictionless. Okay, if customers fall behind, they're often left to deal with those old traditional collection methods and stuff and tactics. And, they're disengaging, man. Like they're outdated. Like they don't like that. So at Indebted, we're trying to change that experience, right? Being in debt, we're trying to I guess, create a better way for businesses to support the customers throughout it. So we're putting the power back in the customer's hands with a digital first omni-channel product called Collect. So it's intuitive to how people prefer to manage their debt rather than pressuring, them to take a one-time payment. I feel like old traditional debt has like a one-size-fits-all type of thing, approach. Like you either have to pay now or, you might incur extra debt. With Indebted, like customers can kind of manage the debt in their own time. They don't have to, speak to someone if they don't want to, but hey, if they do want to, it's right there. They've got a self-service portal too. They can manage their own debt their own way. And Collect is backed by a 5-star customer rating, experience team, who they're cross-trained in support customers, whatever their needs are. And it's about meeting customers with empathy and compassion. I always feel like whenever you talk about money, it comes with emotion. So, we're here to just create a positive collection experience that supports customers to get back on track with their debt.
In one of the recent posts that your company did, you guys highlighted the importance of responsible voice collections, focusing on trust, respect, and flexibility. That's kind of interesting. So, how does Indebted maintain these values in voice collections, and what role does technology play in that?
Yeah, good question. Voice has a massive part in it plays a massive part, in successful recoveries and strategies. And we've got very strong advocates at Indebted for responsible voice collections. Some customers don't want to be harassed, pressured, or shamed. Like I said, sometimes money comes with emotion, right? So they want to feel supported and encouraged to resolve their account in a way that works best for them. So, in terms of, the responsible voice collections, I guess it starts from a place of trust and respect. We support customers to engage because they feel encouraged to, and they understand, and we want to make them sure that they're understood. When it comes to training and incentives, we've got a pretty healthy incentive structure that we give to our debt collection agents. And it breeds confidence and offers support. And again, no pressure to do things. We reward our team, and again, that's based on the 5-star Google reviews. So because of that, every single call is focused on the customer, right? It's not about trying to hit targets. It's you will be rewarded by that review. And in turn, it means that they focus more on that customer. So it's higher engagement and we get better consumer outcomes from it. And then with that, obviously, just comes continuous improvement, continuous training. We have a custom built training program that every single collection agent, goes through, and it empowers them. It gives them the confidence to offer solutions to these consumers as well. Both at any level, whether it's emotional, whether it's even through technical means, I guess, if they're not sure how to do it, they kind of walk them through every single step. And I think a bonus for us too is we also learn from that too, right, with our data. So, we have data that kind of tells us customer engagement rates and, customer outcomes. And that kind of enhances us, when it comes to call flows and training modules, how long was a customer on the phone for? Was it a positive experience or not? And again, that just creates the whole cycle, right? It just keeps going through continuous improvement.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Like a tag that adds a sort of human touch. That's very
That's
cool.
what it's about, man. That's what it's about.
Yeah. So I know that your company works across various countries. Your headquarters is based in Australia, right? But you work in different locations. So taking into account your global stance on debt collection, so considering this international scope, what challenges and what opportunities do you see for your specific IT team, technology team, particularly concerning like security or like other relevant issues?
Yeah,
Can you
no,
talk more about this?
oh yeah, 100%. Like I said, there's a lot, right? There's a lot to go through. If I had to pick some things out, I think there's always challenges, right? When it comes to expansion, like starting in Australia, and then I guess now we're in the US, now we're in Europe, and as we expand, you've got certain things like you touched on, then security, right? So that comes with like sovereignty and data. Um, hardware procurement is like another one. So for example, we were looking at, I think when we did expand, looking at hardware procurement, right? And this is just one example. Realized it was pretty hard to actually find devices in certain countries, and again, here we're just used to Australia. We've got a process. It's pretty easy. We've got a partner that we kind of go with, and yeah, very, very challenging. So I kind of had to, there's ways to work around that, and building new partnerships, and I guess the regulatory requirements in those new countries, that changes everything for us. In the security space when it comes to infosec, like there's new guidelines you have to adhere to, like, and again, using Europe as the example, the UK specifically, there's GDPR now. So, that's something that we obviously had to take into account when we went there. We had to make sure that we're ready for that, because it's not just about, having ISO anymore. You need to have ISO, SOC. We take credit cards over the phone, so we need to be PCI compliant too. So everything changed when we started to like move out, I guess, to different regions. And yeah, I think when in terms of opportunities, I feel like the sky's the limit with us, man. And not saying that to kind of sound too cocky or anything, but as the technology changes, I feel our approach has to too. So for example, AI is a big thing, right? Everyone's talking about AI. Everyone wants to use it. Some people are scared of it. Some people are worried it's going to, take over jobs. I think if anything, it's going to help your job, right? But each scenario, I think we come across, we just have to adapt to it. So our approach to it has to be very, very different. And I guess another example in terms of security, when we have to like onboard certain vendors or apps, we have to do all our due diligence, right? With AI coming on board, that doesn't change. If anything, though, the one thing that does change is how we onboard that. We might be asking different questions this time to that vendor. Data integrity and sovereignty might come into it. Where's that data hosted? Who has access to that data? Little things like that. I guess the landscape changes when we start to like move global. So yeah, definitely a challenge, but a good opportunity too, I think.
And speaking about that, how do you keep your team, your tech team, working smoothly together? Like especially with the different locations, time zones, maybe different even cultural aspects, of your team. Can you talk more about this?
The hard whip. Nah, joking.
Mm.
Nah. The biggest thing, honestly, and this might sound cliche, but communication, man. Communication's key. I think the ability to have the right tools to collaborate, definitely. Not everything needs a meeting sometimes. I think things can work async. I'm based in Australia. I've got people that work in the US, for example. It's a different time zone. I'm going to sleep, they're waking up. It's having that open line of communication, like that open channel. And I think part of that's giving ownership back to them. Like, I don't want to micromanage anyone. No one wants to be micromanaged. I put trust in them. I know that they're capable of doing the job. They know it too, and I think that they feel the trust from me as well. So, if something doesn't work, we call it out. They might mention it to me, I might mention it to them, and yeah, we just change it to be better, I guess. So that's a big part of it. I feel like the trust, the communication, and like the ownership. If you don't have all three, then you probably start to fall a bit apart. I think when you come across time zones, when you're working across time zones.
Yeah, definitely. Like syncing across time zones. That's always like a puzzle,
Very tricky. Yeah.
I know it for sure because I have like teams in 3 different continents, so sometimes it's
wow.
hard.
So then, obviously, you have to really manage, I guess, your time and your communications to suit, right? Like, that's a big thing.
100%, 100%, and also I have clients from in different parts of the world, and my favorite clients who are based in Hawaii, so it's 12 hours difference, you know.
Oh no.
It's a huge challenge just to find this like a 30 minutes to have a call, you know.
See, and that's the problem, the whole time zone thing, right? And I feel like, you almost lose a day sometimes if you work that way. Like you work and then you might leave a message for them and then they'll wake up and then they'll leave a message for you and then a full day's gone and then you kind of reply back to them. You're kind of missing all that. I feel sometimes. So obviously meetings are different, you can't expect it, but I feel like working async and just having like a right way to communicate in the right style will benefit you, or it should.
Yeah, and speaking about style, like what strategies have been effective in like managing and communicating with people from different like countries with various cultural backgrounds, and how do you align them with the company's goals and values? This kind of communication
Yeah, that's a great
stuff.
question, right? That's something that you can't get out of university or a course, or training, for example. I feel that's just how you kind of are as a person to like adapt to cultural things. For example, my background is South American. I was born in Australia. I don't speak the best Spanish. I can speak a little bit. Um, when I started to manage people in the Philippines, they saw that my last name was Spanish, Loyola. And they thought that I was Filipino almost because Philippines, it's got like a very big Spanish influence, for example. So because of that, I feel like we kind of had that joke and that camaraderie at the start, So I was like a honorary Filipino by accident just because of that. But that brings me into like how I do it. Um, I feel when you are managing different cultures, you have to see it from their point of view. You have to be an open book. Yes, I'm the leader. I might be the boss. It doesn't mean I know everything. And it also doesn't mean I should dictate how the team work. Different cultures like to work different ways and different things. And, sometimes things that you may say or do can be taken across the wrong way. So, I just try to look for those signs, if that makes sense. Like I try to be pretty close to my team. I try to have like an open book relationship with them. They can contact me whenever they want. They can be as personal as they want with me and I'll do it back. And, it's like give a little, take a little, right? Like if they give it, I'll give some back too. And you build that trust, right? It's going back to that's how I lead them. They trust me, I trust them. And I feel like it's just, helped me a lot personally. And I feel like it's helped them a lot to develop. I see them too when we, like just another example, hired a systems admin. That systems admin, had a help desk person managing them. And sometimes some of the things that I do rub off on them and I see them managing them that way too. And it's really nice to see that because I feel like they're taking something good from me. Remember at the start, I said, you got to take the good things from like the good managers and then the bad managers you get, don't use that. I hope I'm a good enough manager that some good things are getting taken from me, from my team.
And speaking about those managers for maybe future tech leaders who are new to this international talent market and who are kind of unsure what to expect, could you offer some guidance or tips on how to navigate these waters effectively?
You mean like specifically, I guess, in like just in like the technical landscape or more like
Yeah, like tech leaders who are just about to start hiring like a globally and managing this global team.
yeah, no. So yeah, great question. Look, man, it's not. I feel like a message I could give to anyone. It's not all about tech. Remember, we're humans too, right? Like you still got to have that emotional touch. And I used to I used to joke around when I was coming into IT and say, I'm an IT nerd and I like to build things and break things and do things. And yes, 100% I am. You know, but becoming a manager and a leader, I probably feel like I'm probably less technical these days, more managerial, and nothing wrong with that. So two things I would say to that is if you're going to be a tech leader, just keep your finger on the pulse. Try to stay as technical as you can still, because you want to be able to lead by example. You should never ask anyone to do something you can't do or you're not capable of, because that's not fair. And also on the other side, I think you got to have compassion too. Like I said, we're all people. You need to learn to work with your peers, and not just inside your team. A big advantage I had was, I got to experience other departments and the way they work when I came to Indebted. And I loved that because I found out the way that they worked and it made me be better at my job. I realized what they needed. from our department and where we were lacking and if there was any gaps, for example. So yeah, I think be compassionate, keep your finger on the pulse, and be open.
Yeah, that's a good one. And then for tech talent, like eager to join this international company like Indebted, right? So could you share maybe some tips or advice on what they should focus on to stand out and succeed? You know?
Yeah. Look, obviously, there's various roles going. Like, we're a debt collection company, so whether you're in the collection space, I think having experience obviously helps, and that's just the name of the game, right? You got to have experience in something to want to do it. Um, uh, you know, and again, going back to the whole personal thing, it's not just about your resume. Sometimes I feel like you can engage somebody and get to know them pretty quickly in the first interview just by talking to them. And for example, when I was hiring for certain positions in our team, I didn't even really go into the technical questions. I let my team kind of ask the technical things. So for example, if it was like a technical role, I wanted to know what they're like as a person, and I think that's very important because at Indebted we've got a really really good culture. We're a massive family, and again, it sounds very cliche, but we are. So if you don't fit the culture, then obviously that's probably like a red flag for us. So for anyone that's coming into like a global company like that, be yourself. I think, don't try and fake anything. Don't try and say, oh, I've done this. Like you can say that on a resume. Be yourself. Be a nice person. Be kind. And yeah, you probably got a better chance than most.
I love that. Love that. So probably my last question. So from your perspective,
Yeah.
what new trends or technologies do you think will significantly change maybe the tech space overall, or maybe your specific niche and debt collection or fintech space, like anytime soon, like maybe AI, maybe there is something else that you see that is coming, and that we should be aware of.
Look, man, there's a lot of things coming, right? You hear about it all the time, crypto, AI. AI is a good one, right? Like AI is skyrocketing in all sectors. Everyone knows about it. I'd be surprised anyone that doesn't. In our industry, again, being like, in the finance industry too, and, in that tech, it does play a big part, right? But it's about, I think, being safe and ethical. While we integrate that AI, I'm not against AI. Like, if anything, we really want to leverage it. We want to leverage its power, especially in collections. We want to give a better experience to, like our customers. And, being a fintech company, we're in that really good position to like really leverage that if we want. And with our expertise and, internally, we can probably set our own pace of how we integrate that effectively, and safely. Obviously, we've got to consider, regulatory requirements and compliance and that, like, certain states, for example, in the US, you can't use AI yet, or you're not supposed to when it comes to like debt collection, for example. But, for us, it means that we invest in developing new features and making enhancements into the Collect platform, into like our platform. And, some of those are actually already been implemented now. We actually have started that already. We wanted to be ahead of the curve, don't want to get left behind. So we started that like a while ago. And again, our executive leadership team have got really good vision. Our CTO does too. He said something a long time ago that stuck with me. It's not the fast that'll eat the weak. It's the fast that'll eat the slow. Meaning, like, if it's got nothing to do about how good you are, it's how fast you adapt to it, right? So for us, it's about ensuring you got the right balance between human intervention and the tech to create that perfect blend. And there always will be customers who will want to speak to a real person. Some people don't like talking to robots, right? Whether it's in a chat thing, or you don't want to be on hold trying to leave a message like a robot. But we'll continue to meet that, and we'll continue to support that whichever way we go. We're never ever going to just go no more voice and here's all AI, or the other way around. It's always going to be a blend of everything, and I think that's how we're going to succeed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the future is coming fast, right?
Very fast, man. Doesn't slow down for anyone.
Yeah. I guess we're good. Thanks a lot, Jason, for sharing your insights on this navigating the evolution of debt collection with technology, on managing a global IT team across different time zones. Yeah, thanks a lot. We wish you and Indebted like all the best in your like journey. Keep up this fantastic work and take care.
Thank you very, very much for the opportunity. It was a pleasure, man.